Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. I'm going to try to make this short. This video is an analysis of my videos in the last 15 years, how they come off, generally speaking. I'm not going to go over all the titles or something, but as I was reviewing my videos, as I was trying to understand the timeline more, which I often do, I came to some unavoidable conclusions, and they were positive conclusions, believe it or not. In spite of all the covert editing that has taken place, the government editing my videos with many witnesses, and people would believe me if I just said it without any witnesses, but I have many witnesses. It's clear, and I've always been clear on this, it's clear that I did the right thing. So let's get into this. I have about 13 points to make here. Point number 1, in spite of people not rallying to me to help me organize and articulate in the face of extreme sabotage, every video has very logical messages, except for the rare video that serves as an example of sabotage. The video where a message is not clearly made, right? It's not so clearly made. So sometimes I was so covertly drugged that I was out of sorts. And that's much less than 1% of the videos. That's like maybe 0.0001% or some very small percentage of the videos, okay? So the vast majority of the videos, if you bother to click the video, again, if you bother to watch the video, you see that I'm making important points and I'm articulating important messages, very logical messages. So there's a need for the video to be made. It's logical, it's insightful, it has to be said, and so that transcends how the video is presented. Okay, there's a lot of people who are weird who say important things on the internet. Okay, so how weird I look, how weird I sound, especially living by Santa Cruz where they say accept differences, and a lot of people proudly proclaim that they're weird. I'm not naturally so weird. I'm a very normal person, as normal as it gets, more normal than Obama, right? But, I'm unique, but I'm normal in terms of my mentality and so on and so forth. Pinpointed normal in a sense is transcendent and righteous and great. Okay, but not normal in terms of the psychological construct of America or white social norms or any racial social norms, but universal normalness. Okay. So point number 2, YouTube limits the views, but it was extremely wise for me to continue making videos anyway, with everything considered. So YouTube limits the views, right? It says, why are you making videos if, you get 50 views here, 2 views there, 10 views there, right? Instead of thousands or millions of views. And I have gotten, in one case, I had over 100,000 views, but the video wasn't that great, unfortunately. But I have some of these videos where I cover some events where I get tens of thousands of views or several thousand views. Usually these days they limit it to only a couple hundred views, and they're probably all government workers or something, I don't know. But certainly people are hearing my videos to some degree. These things shouldn't be kept to myself. So we see that the moral repetition is unmatched in all of human history. Now I want you to ask yourself this question here. What achievement could be greater than my top martial arts challenge that comes with the thousands, over 15,000 moral videos that I've made? So here's this top martial arts challenge where I say I'm being persecuted for my moral, my logical, my insightful, social, political, economic views, religious views, what have you. And there's 15,000 videos or so on the internet that are moral videos that I have made since 2009. That moral repetition that shows you, I'm going to be moral in spite of all the adversity. And I was continuing my martial arts, covertly drugged and fumed until they had fumed and crippled me so much that I couldn't continue, violating my freedom of speech and freedom of expression, right? Recently, the Supreme Court, overturned the federal ban on bump stocks, things that alter guns into a machine gun. So they didn't deem it a threat for these people to have, guns, the kits to alter semi-automatic rifles and guns into, other guns into fully automatic weapons. Okay. But they deemed it a threat for me to do martial arts. You don't think that's a bit crazy? A bit cuckoo? Okay. And that's, again, they have some kind of stated argument for their psyop. And then they, have their ulterior motives, their secret arguments, their real arguments that they're jealous, they're petty, and they're abusing their authority. Okay? There's nowhere near a sound justification for what they're doing. Nowhere near. It's crazy. And here I am, the son of a humanitarian, the son of 2 doctors, right? One of them a brain surgeon and a humanitarian, who's made and I've made thousands of moral videos. My dad has given away millions of dollars in free service. And they cripple me and fume me and poison me because they don't want people to hear what I say, because I demand that they debate me and they don't want to have to debate me publicly. That's pretty sick, right? There's nothing that justifies that. You don't provoke somebody, order people to shun them, and try to isolate them, okay, just because you're jealous of them. That's not right. That's sick. And then after you provoke him, you say, well, he said this while he was provoked. So what? If you covertly drug someone and provoke them for long enough, they'll probably scream bloody murder. So what? That just proves that you're wrong, not that you're right. And there's the 23 witnesses on record. And there's more who are not on record, who know firsthand that I'm right. Point number 3. All the wordplay is basically sound, and sometimes you have to think about it for a minute. For example, do any of you doubt that the word bread can be sliced into 2, where the first letter is B and the second part of the word is red? Be red. Do you doubt that that is sound? That wordplay, that's what we're seeing. People are being evil. They say everyone's born sinners, right? They're bred to be sinners. Be red. Red, the color of evil. And for those of you who say that's not enough, well, what about when you couple it with the wordplay for the word live? The word live, spelled backwards, is evil. The word part, spelled backwards, is trap. And then survivor is a play on words for serve, veer. Survivor, survivor. Alphabet, vowel, vowel. Occult cut-ups, Masonic wordplay. It's sound. You can't say, hey, he thinks that wordplay is real, so he must be mentally ill. No, the wordplay is sound. A magic spell and spelling. However, there are some minor typos here and there, and the average viewer that has seen several of my videos should know why that is. Okay, now I'm not trying to sound weird or arrogant or whatever. I'm trying to take this slow. I'm being fumed, so I'm going to have to stop here for a second and pick it up later. Okay, so my 4th point is that covert drugging can cause typos. And I even have a channel from 2017 or so called Covertly Drugged. That's the name of the channel. I have another one called Poisoned Christ. Another called Fumed Christ It's Proven. And yet another called Persecuted by Racists. Okay, so I made it clear in several of my channels that I'm being persecuted, just like in my Top Martial Arts Challenge where I said I'm being persecuted for my political views. And I have countless videos where I reference that they're changing my voice, that they're fuming me, that they're poisoning me, that they're persecuting me, etc. Obviously, people know that I am insisting that they factor in the sabotage, and that only those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, which means being persecuted for being in the divine order, make it to heaven. Be only those who are righteous, right? You have to be righteous, which means not cheating me out of my right to lead. Okay. And the Bible in Matthew 5:10 and in Paul's letters makes it clear that all who wish to live a godly life in Christ Jesus will be persecuted for righteousness' sake, and theirs is the kingdom of heaven. When you couple the 2 scriptures together. Point number 5. The whole time, countless undeserving, arrogant bastards and assorted feeble weirdos have attracted females while I'm shunned. So I said it this way for effect. Okay? So people can't be like, well, that's what happens when you act like that. Oh yeah, what about the guys who beat their girlfriends? What about the guys who are drug dealers? What about serial killers, rapists, homeless people? There's homeless people that have girlfriends. Okay, so it doesn't add up. That's not going to work here. When someone is as insightful as I am, who's been on the internet as long as I have, who've tried to talk to people in person as much as I have, is shunned, it's because they're shunned by an evil society. Okay, when they're, there's no other way to look at it. Because there's going to be, unsavory characters in society. There's going to be people who are more reasonable than other people. Why are they all shunning me when I'm doing the right thing more than anyone else, and by far? So that has to be factored in. So when someone is to complain about my video, say, hey, I don't like his videos, or maybe he's crazy or whatever. Look who's talking, right? The person who is socially normative, quote unquote, in a crazy society with all kinds of weird named groups, right? Emos and anime fans, manga, weebles. I mean, what the hell's a weeble? A furry, okay? A rocker, a metalhead, a goth, a popular in a crazy world. Being popular in the Simpsons cartoon, so to speak, okay, makes you weird, not normal. Okay. So we get point number 6. I made many videos about females, and I recently was disgusted by the fact, I was making videos in 2017 as I was looking at the titles, right? I was okay, so basically I was looking at the titles of the videos I made in 2017 and 2018, and I was disgusted to see that I was being shunned by females while they're dating these groups that organize rape, especially rape by deception. These people are beating their wives and so on and so forth. And I'm scrambling for years and years trying to tell them, hey, stop shunning me. Especially stop shunning me for these guys. Hear me out. Talk to me about dating. Talk to me about women. And they're not doing it. Because guys and other females are coercing them. Because they have cruel and insensitive hearts. Because they're not brave. No offense to anybody. But this is why, when I say jerks or whoever, call females chicken, right? Because they're scared. So they say a chicken head, right? It's how they think. They're scared. They don't have the heart to do what's right. Again, if you're the exception to the rule, you're exception to the rule, right? But where are you? Okay. So part of the point of that point is that I'm right to be mad at other people and to complain about them, and they're not right to complain about me. Point number 7. The information in the videos make it clear that I am greater than everyone else, especially in terms of bravery and heart, and that I am, of course, right and sane. Now, a lot of people, they don't want this to be said, right? They think it doesn't show humility, and I've proven them wrong a million times over, right? You put a light and a lamp on its stand, not under a bowl, not under a bed. If other people won't praise God by pointing that out, then I should do it myself. It's that simple. The laborer is worthy of his hire. And God hired me to do the right thing, and everyone who's loyal to God is supposed to praise God by praising me, the one He set apart, who is the image of God. My soul is the image of God. And where you can see my soul, you can see God. The one who sees the Son sees the Father. 8. The videos are full of profound martial arts insights, and I prove definitively that God's order is a Royal African Falcon martial art order, even using other people's religions to overkill it, even showing that they're testifying against themselves, that their scriptures are pointing to me and they're not obeying God through me. Let's look at some titles from 2018 that overkill this, right? So I have one where I talk about transferable skills, the senses and sensibility, and the essential alpha essence to sense the presence of God. I talk about neuroplasticity, brain activity, brain function, and how to rewire your brain naturally. I say the burden of proof is on other martial artists. If they're going to argue that they're better and not accept my challenge, the burden of proof is on them. I'm the one who made the challenge to everybody for years and years and years, and it's still going. I'm the one who put the money, my money where my mouth is. They pay nothing if they lose, what have you. The burden of proof is on them, not me. I've proven my point. It's the overwhelming sound conclusion. I talk about mental sparring. Why is it called that? Here I am, this guy with a sparring challenge, and sparring is part of martial arts, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And I talk about mental sparring. And this sheds light on the sabotage. And I talk about sabotage in my videos, the sabotage of the top martial artists. I make a video called List of Past, really minor mistakes, but a list of past mistakes, okay? A willingness to correct my mistakes while society is refusing to correct theirs. I talk about the wordplay again where the word lead is deal scrambled. Is your deal with the devil, those who want to snake me, to cheat? Or is your deal with God by obeying God through me? I talk about how they are pretending that I'm evil and crazy. These are sound ideas. These are the ideas of someone who has rational thinking. Okay. Point number 9. You can tell that while I'm making the videos, I know that if people are truly sane, they will follow me no matter how much brain damage I sustain. Clearly, I am the one God set apart as the greatest leader ever, and God doesn't want to see or hear any excuses for people not obeying me, especially when they're trying to do things a certain way so that people can say, well, let's be practical here and follow, the oppressor or the one the oppressor set apart to pretend that they're decent, controlled opposition and whatnot. Okay? When they should be following only me, especially because they took it there. When you challenge God's decision to that degree, under no circumstances can anyone else lead. Period. There's no other way to look at it. It is impossible to be of sane and rational mind and to think of it a different way. Point number 10. The opposition view fails to answer my many key smoking gun questions. Like, why would the analytical so-called patient argue against the treatment if the treatment is improving his life? Like, hello, right? Point number 11. It is clear the whole time that the government and the governing class are trying to get me on drugs for insisting on reality and not white social norms, as I have the most logical scale for things, and they simply maintain their trickle-down blood money order. And again, I have to stop. I'm congested from being fumed. Okay, real quickly here, let's wrap this up. Point number 12. One cannot honestly claim that they are an honorable person that does not deserve to be insulted if they don't prefer death to cheating the top martial artist ever possible. Think about what it means to be the top martial artist ever possible. Mind, body, soul, spirit, character, moral precision. Monotheistic. One God. The source of righteousness and justice and all the martial art principles. 13. It is clear that I was wise to emphasize the fact that governing class whites, Jews, and LGBT people and their massive network, which includes countless token minorities, have changed my look, and that I must make distinctions in regards to the differences between me and them. And my culture from God is greater than their profane cultures. I masterfully show you how you can chastise groups without being a racist in a way that's fair and just and right. This is something I have never seen masterfully done before, except for maybe in the Bible, right? Where Jesus is chastising the Jews, and you see David chastising Goliath, and by default and by association, the Philistines. Okay? So I do what is difficult to do, right? I say, hey, white culture, Jewish culture, LGBT culture, okay? They're leading the charge. They're grouping of cultures together. They're leading the charge against me. But none of them are obeying God through me. So is it right to then chastise them as groups? Yes. Is it politically correct? Probably not. Probably not even in this very obvious context, right? Like if you were in Nazi Germany and you were a Jew and a bunch of Nazis were harassing you and no Germans were helping you, and you say, damn, this country's out to get me. Is that politically correct? Maybe not, but it's logical and it's fair and just and right. Thank you. Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. Keep in mind there's a lot of people that work for the government that know that I'm right about these things, and they would probably put them together pretty quickly if they saw my videos and they saw that I was arguing that I'm targeted. They made it harder for me to get clothes that look good, that matched, what have you. Okay? They caused me to have hardware and software issues in regards to how I look and sound on camera. And I went through a lot of different phones and cameras during the course of my videos, okay? Even right now, they're doing some kind of weird background noise thing. And they, there's rumors will say that they even supposedly use animals to cause distractions, and that there's rumors that they have technology, nanotechnology that can create control the wind so that helps them fume people and so on and so forth. Right when I said that, hey, the wind started blowing for whatever reason, okay, maybe it's a coincidence, but there were these things that were occurring that clearly were occurring for sure, okay. When I look at it, when I have talked to people who are into technology, they say, yes, that's what happened, okay? They had done things, hacked the phone, what have you. When I ordered the phone on the mail, they did things to them to make it so I look weird on camera. But I think that 80-90% of what caused me to look weird in the videos was probably more, after the fact, right? After I recorded and I uploaded looking kind of weird in a lot of videos back in the day, right? Then they made it so I look weird you know, in those videos. And at some point I started to care, maybe in 2015, 16, 17, I started to care a lot more about how I looked on camera, and I started making sure I looked good. And then they edited those as well. Okay, so that's important to note. Okay, so they give me a hard time with the clothes, with the hardware and software, with the hacking, and they're covertly editing the videos. And in spite of all this, you know, you can go back years and years. You can go back, you know, 12 years ago, 2012, I'm saying that they're sabotaging me. You can go back, you know, to the first video where I'm talking about righteousness and wisdom is what truly makes a king, and not the social leaders we see and how the organized criminals in the governing class, you know, not necessarily the mafia, you know, people who are more established than the mafia, I'd say, how they're trying to make sure that the wicked people get positions of power. So you can look at these very logical and consistent messages. And you can look at the fact that I made a video series in 2013 or so called Proof with Valid Sources. With valid sources. Not only did I have valid sources, I went out of my way to highlight that I use valid sources, which is something that the vast majority of people who talk about things on the internet do not do. I make that distinction, and I set that precedent. And I say this is what is rational, what is logical. I'm in college at the time. Okay, remember I graduated in 2015. Okay, so for 4 years, a little over 4 years, well, the program was a little over 4 years. Okay, and because they were persecuting me, it took a little longer than that. I graduated college. I'm getting good grades, and I eventually get good enough grades to graduate with a degree in information technology with a concentration in software engineering. And I have that diploma. I've shown it in my videos. Okay, so it's clear that I'm talking sense. It's clear that I'm sane. It's clear that when somebody who's the son of 2 doctors, one a brain surgeon with a legal and peaceful top martial arts challenge, okay, is challenging you to a debate, and he has a college degree, okay, while they're trying to play him out as crazy, that you lose the debate as a society, as groups, as churches, as mosques, as synagogues, what have you, if you don't respond. When Goliath, again, Goliath was in the wrong. I'm not Goliath. I'm not on his side. But when Goliath challenged the Jews, he said, I'm challenging all of you. And if none of you come forward, you are going to be penalized. And he said, whoever wins is the person who's going to rule over the other side, establishing that martial arts, mind, body, soul, spirit, in an actual competition that is valid, outdoor sparring or single combat to the death, establishing that that's how you determine who's in charge. But now, because of tech, breeding, cheating, and generational ill-gotten gains, that cannot be done in a valid manner after I die. I've been saying this for years. Just like I've been saying psychiatry is a fraud for years. Just like I pointed out that there was a huge movement that was calling for a valid diagnostic test when it comes to psychiatric diagnosis. And you know why all these mental health professionals were calling for that? Because it doesn't exist. It didn't exist, and it still doesn't exist. Thank you.